Takahi, my brothers and sisters. This video is an instruction on how to perform the main ceremony, the main ritual of every CANEY Indigenous Spiritual Circle ceremony. All ceremonies begin with this ritual, whether it's full moon or equinox, solstice. Even the Behike ceremonies should start pretty much this way. So the first thing that we must understand is that the altar has to be set up, and there are specific rules that we in the Caney Circle use to establish the altar. A sheet must be laid down. That sheet needs to be white. It has to be a white sheet. Other sheets or little segments of sheets may have other colors that you may lay down to put things on the altar, but the main sheet is white. The Caney Circle Behike must wear his or her regalia. The regalia, once the Behike is initiated, must include the necklace and the headdress. The headdress of a Caney Circle Behike is a cap. The basic headdress is a cap with a stick or rod attached to the left hand side of the face, from which hang 4 owl feathers and a hawk feather. The 4 owl feathers represent the 4 directions. The hawk feather represents the illumination that the Behike should have. This cap also includes a fan of macaw feathers, blue macaw feathers. That is not required. But we feel that you might want to use them because the macaw or parrots represent guardian spirits. So a fan of macaw feathers or macaw feathers somewhere else in the cap is welcome. Normally, we keep the stick or rod that is attached to the left-hand side separate from the cap so that the cap can be washed. Also, the macaw feathers that I have, the fan of macaw feathers, is detachable so that the cap can be washed and it won't have feathers attached to it. The stick itself represents the axis mundi, the central pole of the universe, which is symbolized by the Saban tree. The very first task of the ceremony is to set up the altar. Begin by creating the sacred hoop, the medicine wheel. For that, we start first with 4 pebbles, 4 stones. This circle is not to be confused with the larger circle that we encourage Behikes to create with large boulders on the outside for people to come in and sit inside that big circle of boulders. That is not what we're talking about here. This circle on the altar is made of little pebbles. Some Behikes prefer to use pebbles that actually are of the colors of the four directions. I do. So I usually create my altar with a green pebble to represent the south, a black pebble to represent the west, a white pebble to represent the north, and a yellow pebble to represent the east. The colors are not required. You can make the whole circle with pebbles of one color, any color, it doesn't matter. But this is what I prefer to do. So the first pebble to be set down is the green one, and you set it down in the south. Behike should sit in the north facing south. That way the Behike will have the west to the right and the east to the left. The north will be behind the Behike. The south will be in front of the Behike. So that's where you put the green one, in the south. The second pebble to be set down is the west pebble. The next pebble to be set down is the north pebble. Green, black, white. The last pebble of these four to be set down is the yellow, the east pebble. Again, I repeat, you do not have to use colored pebbles. You can use all black pebbles, all white pebbles, but I prefer to use pebbles that are the color of the four directions. Once these four pebbles are set up, then you put the rest of the pebbles. When the circle is finished, it should have 28 pebbles. So 4 of them are already on. We need 24 more. This is the way you put the other 24. Start here in the south and begin by putting 6 pebbles from south to west. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 pebbles from south to west, south to west. 6 more pebbles from west to north. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more pebbles from north to east. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And finally, 6 more pebbles from east to south. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When you're finished making that circle, that is the fundamental, basic medicine wheel. We strongly suggest that you also include the lines in the middle, in the center. Lines that cross in the center, so that it will be more like the traditional medicine wheels that our ancestors, the Taínos, used to draw on the walls of their caves. To do that, I typically put 4 more stones in the center, and then 2 from each direction. Always working clockwise, starting with the south. You notice that I put this line here first, then this line, and finally the east line. Try to always work clockwise, starting with the south. We also strongly urge, but do not insist on, strongly urge that you use cornmeal to augment your circle. The cornmeal can be set down first if you choose to, or it can be added after the stone circle is made. Again, this is not a requirement, but it is strongly suggested, strongly encouraged. Start at the south. This is the basic medicine wheel of the Caney Circle. You can now put your semis on there. However, we also encourage you to make a second wheel that is connected to this one. This is also not required, but strongly suggested. The second medicine wheel extends from the first one The construction of a second medicine wheel is also indicated by sacred pictograph drawings on the cave walls of Pomier Cave in Dominican Republic that the ancient Taínos created. They created an image that looks exactly like this. Also, this pattern is used now by traditional medicine people in the remote areas of Dominican Republic, Quisqueya, and they create these patterns that look just like the ones on the cave walls. They do it on the ground using cornmeal, just like this. We base what we do on the traditions, the living traditions of our people who are still practicing these customs. Now remember, you must have a circle of at least 28 pebbles created on your altar for it to be a traditional Caney Circle altar. If you do not have a circle of 28 stones, it is not the required Caney Circle altar. To that circle, you may add cross lines. Those are strongly suggested, but not required. To that circle, you may add a circle made out of cornmeal, yellow cornmeal. That is strongly suggested, but not required. Also, you may create a second circle attached to the first circle. This gives you that connection to the sacred Pommier caves, cave drawings, pictographs in the Pommier caves. This second circle is not required, but very, very strongly suggested. We really hope that you do that you do this second circle. Now, the second circle can also have pebbles. Create the pebble circle the same way that you did this circle, right? One pebble in the south, west, north, east, and then begin to put the other pebbles in exactly as you did these. There's your 28 stones. You can also make the central cross with pebbles. That is also strongly suggested. Once the sacred hoops, if you just want to make one, once the sacred hoop is there, or if you want to make both of them, once they're down, then if you are an initiated Behike and you have your 4 birds, place them in the right location, in the right order. This semi is the bird that represents the south, the turkey, guanajo. You put him in the main circle. The semi represents Búcaro, the owl. That goes in the west. Guanajo goes in the south, Búcaro goes in the west. This is colibrí, the hummingbird of the north. This is guaraguao, the hawk of the east. So that creates your medicine wheel. Okay? We require that you also add the 4 foods to your altar. We require that you add the 4 foods to your altar. If you only have one circle, the 4 foods can go in bowls placed around outside the the main medicine. However, if you have two circles like we've created here, then place your bowls in the second medicine wheel. So that your two medicine wheel, one has the birds and the other one has the 4 bowls with the 4 sacred foods. The 4 sacred foods that go into these bowls are, in the south, green squash, not yellow squash, not orange squash, no other color. It must be green squash. We strongly suggest zucchini because zucchini squash is always green and is readily available in most locations. So zucchini squash, green squash in the south, not squash seeds, slices of green squash. In the west, black beans. The black beans can be dried, which after the ceremony can be saved and used next time. So you can keep reusing the same black beans over and over and over and over. In the north, you can either put pieces of yuca or pieces of cassava bread, casabe, one or the other in the north. Try to get your hands on some casabe bread. It is available online. You can have it, you can order it, and it will be delivered to you. In the east, yellow corn. Yellow corn, not white corn, not red corn, not orange corn, not blue corn, no other color. Yellow corn. It can be dry, which then the hard kernels can be saved and used the next time, or you can get it out of a fresh corn in the cob and take the kernels off, or you can put the whole cob on there, or you can get a can of kernel corn, not cream corn, kernel corn, so you can see the kernels. Yellow kernel corn. Those are your options. So essentially you created your medicine wheel layout. Right? Some people like to separate the two medicine wheels, make them far away enough so that you don't have this situation, crowded situation. That can be done. I could have placed my medicine wheel a little bit further down so that these bowls could fit a little bit better. That's up to you. Some people just put their bowls right on top of the medicine wheel, like that. That's fine. So you have your 4 foods in the bowls. The bowls can be wooden bowls, clay bowls. Some people use ditas made out of higuera gourds. Those are round and can tip over, your food can tip out. So that's something that you will have to consider. Bowls, flat bottom bowls, either wood or clay are the best. You can also use plates or little ceramic trays. It doesn't matter. As long as the foods are there. The foods have to be green squash, black beans, white casabe, or white chunks of yuca and yellow corn. No substitutions. Once this layout is laid out, put together, then you need to put your other semis. They can be anywhere in the arrangement. Anywhere. It doesn't matter. I like to make harmonious arrangements. So I usually put atabe either in the center or over here. And the two representations of yokahu on either side. You have the dead yokahu on one side, and the living yokahu on the other side. Remember that yokahu's life cycle, he's born in the springtime and rises to full maturity at summer solstice, and then eventually dies in the fall equinox. During that whole 6 months, he's alive. So he's represented by the living statue, the living sami. Then from the fall equinox to winter solstice, and then all the way to spring equinox, he's dead, he's dormant. We call it the dormant yokahu. So he's represented by the three-pointed semi. So they go on either side of atabe. Your altar should also include a koa hoop. It is called a koa hoop because we in the Caney Circle understand this to be a koa stick, which is usually straight, like a pole, that has been bent upon itself and tied to create a hoop. So you should have a koa hoop somewhere on your altar. I'm going to put mine right in the center. Okay? Right? Once your altar is completed and all set up, then you set up all of the necessary objects and materials that you're going to need. So you should have a rattle available, either a regular rattle or an amaraca, which is understood to be the traditional rattle of the medicine person in Taino culture. But we in the Caney Circle accept the Behike to use either one, either a regular maraca or an amaraca. Should have that. Aside from that, you can also have other sacred instruments, such as a mayuwakan, that can be another person, a mayuwakan player, who plays the mayuwakan while you're playing the rattle. And you should also encourage the participants to bring their own drums and their own rattles, or you can have drums and rattles at the event to pass them out so that other people can have drums and rattles. That is also something that is a good idea. Before you begin ceremony, start your charcoal. A charcoal briquette, when it's new, will sparkle and spark when you make little sparks when you light it, and it can burn your finger. So you want to light it in such a way so that you are protecting yourself from it. Once it has caught, you fan it to keep it lit and to light the whole charcoal briquette. It lights gradually. The lit portion of the briquette actually moves across the briquette until the whole thing is lit. To hurry that up, you can use a feather to fan it and fan it and fan it till the whole thing is lit up and all burning. Once the charcoal briquette is lit, then you can start putting the copal or taboruco on the briquette. Keep fanning the charcoal until the red hot area has spread throughout the whole charcoal. Then it will not go out on you. Once the whole charcoal is lit, then you can start putting the taboruco or copal resin on it. And it should start smoking right away. The minute you put the resin on, it should start smoking. Use the smoke to consecrate the sacred space, offering it first to the south, 2, 3, 4. Then to the west, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then to the north, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then to the east, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then to the earth. Then to the sky. When you offer it to the earth, you're offering it to Atabe, the cosmic matriarch. When you're offering it to the sky, you're offering it to Yokahu, the Lord of Light. Remember that the sky does not represent God in the Judeo-Christian tradition. The sky represents one of the two elements that make up the Great Spirit in Taino tradition. The sky is Yokahu, the male element of the universe. The earth is Atabe, the female element of the universe. Together, they make the Great Spirit. Not that. A lot of people, a lot of Behikas make the mistake of offering the smoke to the earth, Atabe, and then they say, "Unto you, Great Spirit." That is inaccurate. Do not go, "And to you, Great Spirit." That's not the Great Spirit. The Great Spirit is a balanced combination of that and this. That is the Great Spirit. So you have to bring yourself out of the colonized mind perception that the Great Spirit is the sky. No, the Great Spirit is a combination, a harmonious combination of the sky and the earth. Male and female together, Atabey and Yokahu together make Yaya Guature, the Great Spirit. Yaya Guature is not a he, Yaya Guature is not a she, Yaya Guature is both. Bless the cigar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your feathers. Everything you're going to work with. The foods, everything, and yourself. Once the whole space has been smudged with tabunuco or copal, then you can start the ceremony. The ceremony can begin, you have two options, okay? The ceremony can begin by all of the participants entering the circle one by one and being smudged before they come to the circle. That's one option. Each participant, before they enter the circle, preferably you have a big circle of large stones, okay, cobbles, okay? And everybody comes into that circle one by one. And if you do that, then you have a person with the tabunuco or copal at the entrance in the south, blessing each one, smudging each one. Smudging them. Head, body, legs, feet. And then that person can come in and go clockwise and seat themselves someplace in the circle. And the next person, head, body, legs, feet, and they can come in. That's one way of doing it. The other option is to have everybody come in and sit down. And after they're sitting, you pass this around. You have one person get up, assign this job to a person. They get up and they go and smudge each participant while they're sitting. That's the other option. You have those two options. One or the other. You can do that. Have the person that you have chosen to smudge go around and smudge each person that is sitting. As they sit, or they can stand up and smudge and they can sit back down when they're done. Go all the way around clockwise. That's another way of smudging. That's one of the three purifications. There are three purifications. So that's the first purification. The second purification is to have a bowl of water prepared and ready. We strongly suggest that it be salt water to represent the amniotic fluid of the earth, the ocean, the cosmic ocean. But it doesn't have to be. It can be just regular water. And then pass that bowl around. Each person will dip their finger in the water and then purify their thoughts, their words, and their heart. Let me repeat that. Each person will purify first their thoughts, their words, and their heart. And then pass the bowl to the next person, and that person takes the bowl and does the same thing. And the next person, until the bowl goes all the way around the circle. That's the second purification. So the first purification is purification of smoke, which can happen as each person comes in or after everybody's sitting down and go around. The second purification is the purification of water, where each person goes. The third purification is the purification of prayer. Have everybody extend their arms. You encourage, you say, okay, now I want everybody to extend their arms out like this, palms facing outward. Everybody's got their arms like this. And then you say words to this effect. Allow all negativity and all obstruction to leave your body and run through the lens of your arms and out the palms of your hands and down into the ground. Let the earth take these impurities and consume them. All negativity, all obstruction, everything that keeps you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish will now go into the ground and the earth will take it. Now raise your arms out and accept all purity and all good and everything that encourages and empowers you. It will come through the palms of your hands, through the lens of your arms, and right to the core of your body, right to the core of your soul. Allow that energy, that strength to flow through your arms into the core of your body. And when you're done, lock it in like this, like this. Bring it into the sides of your face like this. Keep it there for a minute. Hanghang ka to. Once the three purifications are completed, you want to alert the spirits that this thing is happening, and you do it by sounding the conch shell. You sound it 6 times. One for each one of the 4 directions, one for up, one for down. And to the west. Then to the north. Then to the east. Then to the earth, Atabe. And then to the sky. The Behike can blow the conch shell, or the Behike can have an assistant blow the conch shell for him or her. If an assistant is blowing the conch shell, then the Behike should use the rattle to point to the 4 directions. Once this is done, it's time to sing the first song. The first song is the song of the four directions. And it goes like this. Kaneyata, kaneyata, aeata, neyata. Kaney baba, kaney baba, aeata, ney baba. Kuwareito wacharuai, aea kaneyata. Kuwareito wanahuai, aea kaney baba. Kaneyata, kaneyata, aea kaneyata. Kaney baba, aea kaney baba. Kuwareito korobuai. Aea kanea, kuwareito bukaruai. Aea kanei baba, kaneata, kaneata. Aea kanea, kanei baba, aea kanei baba. Kuwareito rakudoai. Aea kanea, kuwareito kolidiai. Aea kanei baba, kaneata, kaneata. Aea kanea. Caney baba, aea caney baba. Kuwareito warawawai, aea canea. Kuwareito somaguai, aea caney baba. Caneata, caneata, aea caney baba. Caney baba, aea caney. That's the song in the four directions. The next song that is required for every Caney Circle ceremony is the song of Atabey, the cosmic matriarch. There are two songs, Atabey and Yokahu. The song of Atabey always goes first. Atabey always goes first. When you offer the smoke to the four directions, after you do the four directions, you offer it to the earth first, to Atabey first, and then Yokahu. Why? Atabey came first. Atabey is the mother of Yokahu. She goes first. So you must always, whenever you're going to do an offering to both Yokahu and Atabey, she must come first. So now comes the song of Atabey. The song that says Tainoti Wakiata. Tainoti Wakiata means high honors to you. Taino is honorable or honors. Ti means high. Wakia means our. Ata means mother. Tainoti Wakiata. Tainoti wakiata, tainoti wakiata, tainoti wakiata, tainoti wakiata. Areito turei, areito atabei. Tainoti wakiata, tainoti wakiata. Karaya warishanao, karaya warishanao. Tainoti wakiata. You can repeat the verses over and over as long as you feel comfortable. Remember not to make things too long because people get tired out and get bored and you lose them. So you can extend the song further. There are two verses. You can repeat the two verses. Karaya warishanao and areito today, areito atabei. Those are the two verses. Okay? So you can repeat them, you can mix them up, and extend the song as long as it seems that people are getting into the song. And you stop it. Once you're done with Atabey's song, then you go to Yokahu's song. Remember that as you're playing with your rattle, you can have other people playing their rattles and their drums, and you can have an assistant playing the mayowakan. The next song is the song of Yokahu, the Lord of Life. The words are Tainoti Bomatung Wakia Baba Tureito. Tainoti, high honors to you. Bomatung, big gratitude. We thank you. Bomatung, Wakia Baba, our Father. Turei Toka, dwelling on the heavens. Tainoti Bomatung, Wakia Baba Turei Toka. Tainoti Bomatung. Wakia Baba Tureito, Yokahu Baba Baorakoti, Wakia Baba Tureito, Yokahu Baba Baorakoti, Wakia Baba Tureito, Tainoti Bomatu, Wakia Baba Tureito, Tairoti, Pomatu, Wakia Baba Today, Akuataka, Quabaito Caputo, Catureto, Capaguataka, Quabaito Caputo, Catureto, Tairoti, Pomatu, Wakia Baba Today, Tairoti, Pomatu, Wakia Baba Tureito, Wariko Wakia, Musika Wakia, para Yukubia, Yukataino, Wariko Wakia, Musika Wakia, para Yukubia, Yukataino, Tairo Ti, Pomatu, Wakia Baba Tureito, Tairo Ti, Pomatu, Wakia Baba Tureito, try to develop, your congregation. Try to get it so that it comes to a point where people are coming to your ceremonies on a regular basis. That way they can learn the words to the song and eventually they start singing along with you. That will be complicated and hard for them to learn at first. They won't learn it at first. It'll take them time. Some Behikes actually write the words and make a little booklet so that people can read the words as they sing. And that's good. That's okay. Other Behikes will just keep singing the songs every time you start the ceremony. Every time in the beginning of the ceremony, all these songs have to be sung. So people eventually, after hearing it many times, they learn it and they start singing along. You want to get it to the point where everybody's singing with you.
Taino siwa kiasa, 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 taino siwa kiasa. Taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa. Are tuare kiasa, are tuare tuatare. Taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa. Maro yawarishanao, maro yawarishanao. Taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa, taino siwa kiasa. Are tuare tuatare, are tuare tuatare. Taino siwa kiasa, 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 taino siwa kiasa. I will raise my voice aloud to the Mother, hymn of praise. I will raise my voice aloud in the Mother.
Those are the three main songs. The song of the four directions, the song of Atabe, and the song of Yokahu. Some people like to add to that the song of the semis. Not required. But if you want, you can add the song of the semis. This is the song of the semis. Semino, semino, waku, semino, semino, waku. Semino, semino, waku, semino, semino, waku. Wakia yere musika, wakia bogwatatyomo. Wakia yere musika, wakia bogwatatyomo. Semino, semino, waku, semino, semino, waku. Semino, semino, waku, semino, semino, woo! Once the three main songs have been sung, the song to the four directions, the song to Atabe, and finally the song to Yokahu, you're ready for the smoking of the tobacco. Remember, you have the option of either smoking a cigar or smoking a pipe. In the Caney Circle, we allow our Behikes to light their cigars with either a lighter or matches. Some Behikes choose to start their to use only fire that has been lit in a traditional ancient manner from the 1500s with rubbing sticks or lighting with striking sparks, and that's fine, but it's not required for the Caney Circle. You can light the tobacco in any way you want to, essentially. Once your tobacco is lit, offer it to the four directions. Offer the smoke to the spirit of the south, the spirit of open mind, the spirit that allows human beings to see without the encumbrances of prejudice and preconception. Tanuti Achiano. Offer the smoke to the spirit of the west, the spirit of introspection, the spirit that allows human beings to look within themselves and understand what they see inside. Tanuti Koromo. Offer the smoke to the spirit of the north, the spirit of wisdom and experience, the spirit that allows human beings to learn from the things that happen to us throughout our lives. Tainoti, Rakuno. I offer the smoke to the spirit of the east, the spirit of illumination and enlightenment, the place where the sun rises, the spirit that allows human beings to see clearly, far, with the clear vision of the high flyer, Guanaguao. I offer the smoke to the earth, Atabe, the cosmic matriarch, she who is our mother and our grandmother, she from whose womb we emerge, from whose breast we're never weaned. You know, babies, when they come out of that womb, they must feed from the breast of their mother. But eventually, they're weaned, and so they don't have to feed from that breast anymore. But this mother is a mother from which we're never weaned. We must keep feeding from her breast throughout our lives. She feeds us all life long. We offer the smoke to Yukahu, Bagua Maurokoti, the Lord of life, he who is our father and our brother. He's not only our father, but he's also our brother because he comes from the same womb that we come from, Atabe. the Lord of life, the Lord of energy. Those are the 6 directions. Some people choose to make an offering to a 7th direction, the direction of the center. Once the smoke has been offered to the 6 or 7 directions, use the smoke to send your prayers out to the spirits. Notice that the smoke doesn't just go up. The smoke goes out in all directions. It goes out to all the spirits. It goes out to all of the settings. Make sure you inform the people before the tobacco goes out that they can choose to either smoke the tobacco or not smoke the tobacco. If a particular participant chooses not to smoke, they are encouraged to hold the tobacco in both hands respectfully. Take the tobacco, hold it in both hands respectfully, and allow their prayers to go in the smoke of the tobacco, and then give it to the next person. The participants do not have to smoke the tobacco. Do not force participants to smoke the tobacco. You can suggest that they smoke it, and don't come on real strong and, whoa, I really need for you to smoke it. I mean, you don't have to, but don't do that. Do not make your participants feel pressured to smoke tobacco. They only should be given the offering. Offer. You can smoke it if you choose. If you don't choose, don't have to smoke it. And then pass it to the next person. But if you don't smoke it, hold it respectfully in your hands. Offer the tobacco, the smoke, your prayer in the smoke, and then go to the next person. Encourage the participants in your ceremony, when the cigar or the pipe comes to them, to use the smoke to send their prayer out. And they can either pray silently, privately, or they can say their prayer out loud. For instance, you can say, I offer this prayer to the victims of the hurricane in the Bahamas. May they be saved from the destruction that Comanche has brought to them. May the suffering end in the Bahamas. May help come to them. And the ones that have lost loved ones, may they be consoled. I'm creating this training video in September of 2019, right after hurricane hit the Bahamas really violently, and has created incredible destruction. So I use that as an example of something that you can offer as a prayer. And as the cigar goes around, or the pipe goes around, each person can make an offering, a prayer for whatever intention they have in mind. So once the Behike is done, the Behike passes the cigar or the pipe to the person that is at his or her left, so that the cigar or the pipe can travel in a clockwise direction. And that person does the same thing. Participants don't have to offer the tobacco to the 4 directions like the Behike did. Only the Behike has to do that. The participants can just smoke the tobacco and pray. If they choose to offer it to the 4 directions, all power to them. That's fine. They don't have to. Don't force each person to make an offering to the 4 directions. Don't do that. You can choose to sing the tobacco song, which has no words. But remember that if somebody wants to make a prayer out loud, you should stop singing so that that prayer can be heard by everybody. The tobacco song can start with a flute. If you have somebody that knows how to play the flute, or you can play the flute yourself, you can start it with the flute and then go to chanting. If you don't have a flute player and you cannot play the flute yourself, then go right to chanting. This is the way the tobacco song goes. It does not have words. It goes like this. The tobacco is going from person to person. If the tobacco should go out, if the light should go out in the tobacco, make sure you have either matches or a lighter prepared so that the person that is holding the tobacco, whether it be a pipe or a cigar, can relight it. Once the tobacco has gone all the way around, if you're still singing, stop singing. When it comes to you, stop singing. That is the end of the opening ritual of the CANEY Indigenous Spiritual Circle ceremonies. All ceremonies start this way. All ceremonies begin like this. They start by setting up the altar. They end by smoking the tobacco. From then on, you have the special part of the ceremony. If it's a full moon ceremony, at this point, set up either 2 torches, or 2 candles, or 2 oil lamps of some kind, something that has 2 lights, and then you can go on to the lighting of the 2 lights. If it's an equinox ceremony, everybody will get up after the smoking of the tobacco and get ready to split. Men stay one side, the women go to begin to do their snake dance, weaving the rope. If it's a solstice, then it's the women that stay and the men go off to do the radiant sun dance and then the shark dance. If it's the ceremony of the spring planting in May, the Sirik ceremony, then everybody gets up and you go to do the planting ceremony where the man is clearing the space and the woman comes and digs. All of that, those different things all happen after this is done. This is the main first ritual of all ceremonies. You must even do this when you're doing a healing ceremony. When a Bohitiu, which is the healer, is going to do a main healing ceremony, this has to happen first. All of this has to happen first. And then you go into the healing. Hanghankatu.
Hare Sware Swatare, Saino Tiwatiata, Saino Tiwatiata, Saino Tiwatiata, Saino Tiwatiata, Karaya Warishanao, Karaya Warishanao, Saino Tiwatiata, Saino Tiwatiata, Saino Tiwatiata.